Walter Payton.
I was.
So what is that about? Can you explain what that is?
Sure, yeah. I met Walter. I grew up in Chicago, in a suburb of Chicago. I had a chance meeting with him at a 24-hour health club. And, late at night. This was in the early 80s. I was 17, a junior in high school, and ended up working out with him the rest of my high school career and my entire college career. So it became very close. And then I ended up, I was a high school coach later on in my career before I got in the NFL. And I actually coached his son, Jared. And started coaching Jared. Jared was the same age I was when I met his father and was training with him. So Jared's still in my life. They called me this morning, actually. Jared, Connie, and Brittany, his daughter. Be close to the family.
What's it like training with Walter Payton? I mean, is he very intense? I mean, like what?
Oh yeah. So, I mean, I was in the NFL 25 years, scouting players. I never scouted anybody like. We would the hill we would run. Got a lot of publicity. It's really a mountain. It's like 45 yards. 75 yards, like a 45-degree pitch. It was a landfill area out in the suburbs of Chicago. So landfill, it was miserable. It smelled. If you fell, you could get hurt. There was glass and all kinds of stuff around. So, it would be 3 workouts a day. We'd end at the hill. We'd go to a track, He had a really unorthodox way of training. He was way ahead of his time. A lot of overspeed training and things that you see today. This was, back in the early 80s. So, yeah, I really owe my college career to him. I was a walk-on like Coach Sweeney was. Learned to ride things, and really he had a lot to do with that. Just kind of tagging along with him. I think it was 7 summers. So, yeah, it was amazing. And, of course, that was my first introduction in the NFL. It was the 85 Bears, essentially, to be around that team, that coaching staff. It was just an amazing experience, in somebody's kind of education in football. For that to be, kind of had that with me the whole journey.
So were you around other members of the Bears, like Fridge Perry, obviously played here.
Yeah.
Did you get to know him?
Yep, I did. Yeah, I saw Fridge. He came back with a bunch of his teammates from that national title team. So, I lived with Walter in the summer times. Once he moved into his big house, he'd go to camp a month earlier than I would. So the Bears had training camp disconnected from Hallis Hall. They'd go up to Wisconsin Platteville is where they went. It's called the Cheese League. There are a bunch of NFL teams up in Wisconsin because of the weather. So, like the Chiefs were up there, the Saints were up there, the Vikings, the Packers, everything. And then they'd kind of practice against each other back then. It was a really cool situation. So, I have a million stories. Walter, the Bears would stay in it was Division III school. They'd stay in a dormitory, but Walter rented, like the biggest Winnebago they made, and I would drive that up there for him and park it, and that's like where they all hung out. So the 85 Bears, I'd be sleeping there and they'd just be hanging out at practice. So yeah, it was a pretty magical time.
Is that, like, being around that team, is that one of the things when you were done with college football that made you think maybe I want to go the NFL route?
Yeah. I always admired the league. Walter had so much love for the National Football League. That was, an all-time great team. So I knew I wanted to do something in the league. I realized when I was in college, quickly it wasn't going to be playing. And he really, frankly, encouraged me to, coach, and he felt like I was coach and scout. So, it took me like 10 years to get in the league. I played in Indiana. Was a graduate assistant, got my master's, paid my dues in Division III. Was a high school coach. None of it was kind of gifted. I worked, grinded. Took like 10 years, got my break with the Browns 25 years ago, and worked for 4 teams. It was great. Really amazing league.
think I heard another story that you were saying that you worked at a private school, and so you would like recruit 8th graders. I guess. And so like, what's the difference in terms of evaluating somebody that young as opposed to again somebody in the NFL or now in college?
Well, the sport doesn't change, so it's not. It's very similar, really. Whether you're looking at a player for the league where he's a sophomore in college, junior in college, or you're looking at sophomore in high school, junior in high school, or you're at youth leagues and it's a Sunday and it's still the same sport. So you're looking for the same traits, skills to play, instincts, high weight, speed, athletic ability, things like that, competitiveness, leadership. I mean that way. I've enjoyed all of it. I mean, it all transfers to me. I have 3 kids. Both of my sons played. I was just part of their development. All their friends growing up, young boys. I mean, that's when I always say this. When you coach at lower levels, and that's where your coaching gets tested about the sheer fundamentals of the sport, and attention spans of young kids, and teaching them the sheer basics of the sport. I found that more challenging than here in the NFL, things like that, where you're coaching just these world-class athletes, great football players, and you're just trying to give them something to be a better player. It transfers for sure.
But I'm guessing it would be hard though to project obviously like an 8th grader who is just physically more mature than all, and then they peak. Obviously, how do you project to who's going to really be a good high school player, considering all the variables of how they have kids developing?
Yeah, well, listen, there's just a lot of variables. Okay, I mean, there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle or pieces to the pie of evaluation, and so you just kind of respect them all and investigate them all and scout all of them, and whether it's just sheer height, weight, speed, instincts to play, production, their maturity, their football character, their ability to learn, their ability to process under duress of a clock, duress of pressure. I mean, there's just a myriad of things. Their mental toughness to play when they're not 100%, because nobody's going to be early in the season or really even in camp like we're about to get started with. So,
I mean, are there any unfinished products that you remember from any level that you found that you're like most proud of in terms of like they maybe didn't have all of the things that were obvious, but you saw a certain intangible or you saw a certain skill and you're like, this will translate, and they became a...
Yeah, I mean, they're all, every level, like, when I was a high school coach, none of the basketball players played football, and when I left, they all did, and when a lot of times you're always projecting, right? And so whether you're a high school coach, you're projecting a player to play varsity football, and sometimes they haven't even played football. You're watching a kid play basketball, baseball, or something, soccer. Okay, and then you get to college, and we have, we like it.